It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the Dean of Northeastern University School of Law, James R. Hackney.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Today we gather to celebrate the class of 2019, their stellar accomplishments as students, and their future as attorneys and professionals who will do nothing less than change the world, for the better, of course. Provost Bean, ABA President-elect Martinez, members of the Board of Trustees and the corporation, faculty, graduates, staff, family, and friends, welcome to the 2019 commencement exercises at the Northeastern University School of Law. Above all, welcome to the class of 2019. There's an age-old adage that many of us who are parents understand very well. To paraphrase, the days are long, but the years fly by. As JD students who have had to juggle moving back and forth between classrooms and co-ops, I'm sure you have the same sense that at times studying legal casebooks and theories and working long days in law offices, corporations, nonprofits, and government agencies was endless, yet it seems to have gone by in a blink of an eye. But for those who have watched you, taught you, supported you, your progress has been obvious. Through hard work, late nights, times of incredible stress, and moments of extraordinary glory, you have gained the skills you need to not merely think like lawyers, but to practice law as well. You have acquired these skills by studying under the direction of our outstanding faculty and by participating in the #1 practical legal training program in the nation. Your successes, too numerous to list, have already begun making a mark far beyond our campus. Consider the achievements of your class as a whole. You are landing high-quality jobs at a record pace, including prestigious fellowships, judicial clerkships, positions in major law firms, and placement in government honors programs. You have completed more than 338,000 hours of legal work at 879 placements. Your co-ops took you to 29 states and territories, Washington, D.C., and 6 countries. 81 co-ops were in health law-related fields, an area where the law school is now ranked top 10 in the nation. And your class devoted more than 160 hours to public interest co-ops. You have championed civil rights and human rights. You have worked at startups and major corporations, at labor unions and workers' rights centers, at large law firms, and with solo practitioners, with judges, public defenders, and prosecutors. Through your hard work and dedication, you have made positive impacts on the clients you served and the society that needs ethical, caring lawyers to ensure that the rule of law is paramount. You chose Northeastern because you wanted to make a difference, and you are already doing so. Please join me in congratulating our 2019 JD class. We are equally proud of another group of students earning a degree this year. This is the 8th graduating class of our Master of Laws program. This year, we will grant LLM diplomas to 25 lawyers from 17 countries, including Azerbaijan, Brazil, China, Ecuador, Ethiopia, France, Ghana, Greece, India, Nigeria, and Turkey, as well as three students from the United States, one of whom, our LLM graduation speaker, earned her first law degree in Ireland. You are a truly global group. While half of you chose the general program, others chose concentrations in human rights, health policy and law, and international business. The majority of the class entered the LLM program with substantial work experience. The class includes a champion for girls' access to education, a human rights investigator into sexual extortion, more than one corporate lawyer, a project manager for an indigenous rights organization, and even a registered nurse. Our LLM students completed co-ops in the Boston area law firms and corporate legal departments, Boston City and Massachusetts state government offices, and abroad at law firms in Shanghai and Panama City. We're excited to welcome you to the ranks of Northeastern alumni. Please join me in congratulating the LLM class of 2019. In the fall of 2015, I had the honor as Associate Dean to lead the launch of our Master of Legal Studies online program for professionals seeking to enhance their careers by acquiring legal skills and knowledge. Today, we celebrate the 3rd graduating class of 35 students, 20 of whom join us in person. They completed their degrees while working full-time for organizations such as industrial corporations and in areas including banking, compliance, education, human resources, and healthcare. During their program of study, one of our students obtained a job as a case intake analyst at a law firm that specializes in class action litigation. And another student landed a full-time job as a development officer in higher education with the help of her experiential network project. We are grateful that these graduates are now permanently part of the Northeastern community. Please join me in congratulating those who have earned a Master of Legal Studies. While today is a day of great joy, we also think about those whom we have lost. The law school mourns the passing of Professor Christine Durkin, a faculty member in our Legal Skills and Social Context program and valued member of our community. Throughout her life, Christine was deeply committed to improving the lives of children and women, and was a faculty advisor to our newly revived Family Law Student Organization. Christine was an incredibly warm, kind, and generous person with a unique capacity to make people feel welcomed and cared for. She was someone born to teach, embodied the best of what makes our law school special, and beloved by her students. She is missed. We also bid adieu this summer to several faculty members. Peter Sessa, who launched our highly respected community business clinic in 2012, is retiring after sharing his invaluable expertise in business and community lawyering with scores of students. Mary Landrigan, who has served as director of our innovative IP CoLab and taught our students how to be nimble IP experts and business partners to their clients in the Northeastern entrepreneurial ecosystem, is also moving on. Andrew Matrician, an internationally recognized expert in privacy and data, is leaving after having helped us found the Center for Law, Innovation, and Creativity, and teaching many of our students. Susan Mays Rothstein came to the law school 2 decades ago. Her dedication to our legal skills and social context program cannot be underestimated. Under her direction, our first-year students completed more than 300 social justice projects, helping organizations that serve juveniles, victims of domestic violence, immigrants, and other underserved and marginalized society members. In addition, Susan served as a beloved advisor and role model for our Black Law Students Association, and a valued contributor to so many of our social justice programs. We wish her well as she opens the door to a new professional opportunity to extend her work on restorative justice. Please join me in recognizing these individuals and all of our faculty whose hard work and dedication, along with our outstanding staff, have contributed to bringing our very soon-to-be graduates, to this point in their careers. Before I introduce our speakers, I want to leave you with a few personal thoughts. As a 1L Dean, I could not be more pleased to have you as my first graduating class. You will be the leaders in a world that is clamoring for innovative solutions to seemingly intractable problems. In an environment in the United States and around the globe where the need for holding those in power accountable to ethical codes, human rights standards, and the rule of law is great. You are uniquely qualified, given your training at Northeastern University School of Law and our commitment to integrating social justice as an integral part of your education, to make a positive difference in the world. I urge you to do so irrespective of your professional setting. Your track record on this front thus far is admirable, and I have every confidence that you will continue to blaze trails for the benefit of your personal, family, and professional lives and the larger society. Best of luck to you. Now we turn to our speakers. It is my pleasure to introduce our first JD speaker of the day, Siri Edna Nelson. As a law student, Ms. Nelson has focused on human rights and individual privacy in the age of technology. Her co-ops included the Electronic Privacy Information Center, the Massachusetts Executive Office of Technology Services and Security, the U.S. Office of Special Counsel, and the law firm of C.A. Goldberg. She has served as co-chair of the Black Law Students Association and on the Committee Against Institutional Racism. She also took the lead as the conference director for the student-run conference, How to Get It Done, where legal power meets people power. This spring, she was selected for the Huntington 100, which honors 100 outstanding Northeastern students for encompassing the university mission, ideals, and values. Please welcome Ms. Nelson to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today to celebrate this awesome achievement. It has been incredibly difficult to write these remarks, and I'm so grateful to have had the help of my peers and professors to do so. I have had a hard life, but law school is the hardest thing I have ever done. And I know I'm not alone because I did a survey, and that line is literally taken from one of the anonymous answers I received. I reached out to my peers and asked for their help, and they generously shared their experiences and allowed me to represent them once again. Thank you, class of 2019. Now, thanks to the answers to my survey, I know I was not the only one who struggled with her mental health or struggled with the overwhelming sense of failure when I was disappointed by my 1L grades. I also know that I was not the only one to overcome those feelings and make it here today, triumphant. It was my community at school and outside of school that helped me get over my initial sense of failure and move into thriving, like so many of us have done. It took a community telling us to get a grip on ourselves and that they believed that we could make it here to get us here today. One day, a loved one told me that I was arrogant. This was their way of getting me through my depression. When they said that, I heard everything I was afraid people would know about me, that I was a fraud, and that I thought I was better than others because I was at law school in Boston, and much more, I was at Northeastern University School of Law, the most highly regarded public interest law school in the country. But that's not what they meant. And the funny thing is that just that time, law school in the LSSC program was teaching me to ask people what they meant when they said things that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. So I asked what they meant. And they told me something that motivated me and continues to motivate me until today. They said, "Yeah, you're smart, but do you think you're so smart that you can go to law school and not work hard? You're taking on an incredibly difficult task, and you want it to be easy? Sheesh, if that's not arrogant, I don't know what is." And somehow that explanation made me feel better. It destroyed any shame I had about the difficulty I was facing, and it gave me a clean slate. It allowed me to start again. From there forward, I knew I had to work hard, and I told myself that what I was attempting was supposed to be hard, and that the feeling that it was hard was not just in my head, it was real. After that, it still felt like running up a hill. But this time, I didn't feel ashamed or beat myself up because my legs hurt or my knees were getting sore. Now, that pain was just a feeling of me getting stronger. I could be proud of my struggle and not ashamed or feel inadequate because law school was difficult. It was supposed to be. And now that we go out into the world with our new skill and this degree, I want to remind you all that changing the world is difficult. And it's supposed to be. That we should never feel trapped by the sense of failure that we have when making the change we want to see in the world is challenging, wears us out, makes us cry, or forces us into uncomfortable spaces, just like law school did. Instead, we should take heed that changing the world is incredibly difficult, and it would be arrogant of us to believe that it should be easy for us because we are lawyers, because we got good grades, or because we are smart. My sister helped me understand that being a good lawyer is in large part about getting up every time you get knocked down. But Newsel professors helped me understand that in order to have a lifelong change-making career, we have to be fit. We have to take the time to know what we really care about. We have to read to keep our minds fresh, and we have to physically exercise so that we have the endurance to handle long-term challenges. Change always faces resistance. Heck, we are the resistance. But no matter what we face, we always have to take care of ourselves and allow our communities to pitch in and have the courage to ask loved ones what they mean when they say things that we are uncomfortable with or that trigger our fears and anxieties. Imagine we are the same people that showed up during orientation week unsure of ourselves. But instead of falling through the cracks, we thrived. Our families have so much to be proud of. Now, I think we have a sort of hard-won confidence, not arrogance, that many of us never imagined we would be able to have. And how could we not be confident? We fought through the insurmountable. We thrived despite grief and fear, challenges to our sobriety, domestic violence and sexual assault, loved ones passing away, financial troubles, and more, things that I don't even know about, only to somehow plow through our depression and anxiety to get honorifics, don these TAMs, and forge relationships with judges and each other, many of whom will someday be judges. But if you, like me, are not sure how we will get to that someday, or if you, like me, are still looking for the perfect legal job, please take this advice, even if it doesn't seem totally economically sensible, from Dean Jeremy Paul. Find work that needs to be done. Seek out people doing it. Help, and eventually they will pay you to keep showing up. Thank you.
Thank you, Siri. Our second JD speaker is Richard Rea. As a law student, Mr. Rea's public interest path has been clear. His co-ops included the People's Law Office in Chicago, New York Lawyers for Public Interests, the Alameda County Public Defender's Office, and the National Center for Youth Law. While very seriously committed to law and justice, Mr. Rea has stood out amongst his classmates for his ability to find humor in even the most tedious of torts taxonomies. I really want to hear about those. He has produced and starred in a number of comedy shows, including performing stand-up comedy at clubs from coast to coast. Please welcome Mr. Rea to the stage.
Thank you guys, man. That's Class 2019, give it up for yourselves. Jesus Christ, come on. Sorry for that awkward entry. I left my Lalsa stole at home, but I couldn't come up here without representing Lalsa. Let me hear the Latin Americans in the crowd. Can we? Thank you. We are here. I know everyone told me to come up here and just do stand-up, but that's unfortunately not what's gonna happen. That'd probably be better. Instead, I'm gonna be serious. No. Sorry to point at you. You were just right there. No, I'd like to talk a little bit about just what law school taught me and what I hope we all take away from it. And because I want to be a good little law student, I figured I would start with a little issue statement, a thesis, right? Iraq, Kriak. I think we should appreciate everything that law school taught us, but that can't come at the expense of remembering what we already knew before we came here, because that was just, if not more important. And if you have one without the other, then what are we doing? But I think I'd like to talk about some of the most formative law school moments. To me, the most electrifying moment of law school ever for me was actually the very first day. Very first day of class, torts with Professor Parmet. Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, she's not, or fortunately, she's not here right now because I'd be scared. But like, on that very first day of class, we learned about a case that has been stuck in my head since then, and that has actually kept me going through law school. And I think I'd like to share with our families a little bit of the stuff that we study. That case was called Bierman v. City of New York. I got the site if you want it later. I don't. And that case blew my mind. What happens in that case, if you don't know, is there's a little old lady who lives in an apartment in New York, and a water pipe explodes in her house, and everything she owns is ruined, right? And she needs help. She needs damages. But the judge says the company was not negligent. The company was, in fact, reasonable. And so the law should prevent her from recovering anything. But then the case takes a left turn, and the judge says, even though the company was reasonable, and even though case law says you should not recover anything, we're still going to find for you, because we as courts need to serve substantial justice. And that blew my mind, and every year afterward in law school, the more I learned about the law, the more mind-blowing that became. I didn't know that judges and legal practitioners could ignore settled law and say, no, today we're going to serve substantial justice. And that's been what's keeping me in law school. Because law school can get so depressing. We learn of the law as settled. We learn of the law as something to be learned, not something to be created. But we create the law. We decide what's reasonable. And we should always be asking ourselves, how can this serve substantial justice? And not get lost in the principles of, is this reasonable? Does this pass a cost-benefit analysis? That cost and benefit is subjective. That's what that first case taught me. Who pays the cost and who reaps the benefit? And how can we change that? And how can we always be asking ourselves, how do we serve substantial justice? That, I think, is where Northeastern excels in teaching students. And if we are to continue to better ourselves, we need more of those opportunities with that explicit public interest justice slant. I remember in that same torts class, our professor asked us to take 10 or 20 minutes to imagine, how would you sue the governor of Flint for poisoning Flint's water, even though the governor has immunity? None of us could figure it out, but the fact that there was space made to ask that question has been some of the most educational moments of law school. And we need to keep asking questions, no matter what profession we enter, about how what we're doing on that day serves substantial justice. And that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. When you have your own vision of justice and maybe your coworkers or your classmates don't, it's hard. And I know a lot of us have faced ridicule or doubt because the way that we see things is different than how other people see things. And so it's easy to lapse into old ways of thinking. It's easy to become intellectually lazy. Even the best of us, all our faculty, students, everyone, in the past 3 years, I've seen great triumphs, but I've also seen great lapses of thinking. People arguing, threatening each other, threatening to, spreading rumors or calling the police on each other simply over ideological differences. And not only is that unproductive, that's uncreative. It's lazy. And if we are going to be the lawyers that change the law and change the world, we also need to know how to change ourselves and step outside of what we think the easy thing is to do and ask ourselves, what's the right thing to do? What's the just thing to do? What's the fair thing to do? That famous quote by Cornel West, justice is what love looks like in public. We need to be brave enough to love. And that's why I'm so proud to be part of this class, because the past 3 years, you all have shown me that we do know how to love. You've shown me that when the chips are down and you could easily forget about each other, you hold tight to each other and love each other. Siri was right. Law school is some of the hardest things that we're ever going to do. And I know, speaking for myself, I didn't want to always be here, In every sense of those words, I didn't always want to be here. In every sense. And it would have been easy for you guys to forget about me and forget about each other. But you didn't. So many of you, Kariri Sade, too many people to name, Liz, Alyssa, when you would tighten my tie or bring me a snack or give me your notes. Angie letting me borrow the stole. This is what I'm talking about. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us great. That's what makes us good lawyers, because that's what makes us good people. And that's always going to be where every change comes from. Justice is just love in public. Don't ask yourself what's reasonable. Don't ask yourself what's simple. Ask yourself what's right. Ask yourself what's just. So before I get out of here, I'm sure I'm already like 3 minutes over. One of my great friends, her name is Triv, had the idea that I ask some incarcerated people for their advice on how a starting lawyer should be, what they should know. So I reached out to so many of you who work with incarcerated people, and I got some advice. So thank you, Emily and Yatzel, for helping me with that. And we're going to send thank yous to the people who gave us their advice as well. And I think I'd like to close with their words, because I think they put quite succinctly what I've been trying to say this whole time. So this is from Ray Martinez. Make the client feel like they're the only client. Don't be too technical, and speak about yourself so that the client feels that you're part of a team and that you really care. From Coleman Wayland, in the adversarial process, truth, guilt, and innocence are irrelevant. Trials are all about circumstance and inference. There really is no such thing as beyond reasonable doubt. Everything that we do is based off of an inference. So everything depends on your ability to paint the best picture for your client and draw those inferences. From Vanessa Gibson, oftentimes when we chase our dreams, we see sparkles of gold and fame, but it's easy for attorneys to forget about the little people. Money is great, fame is great, but the feeling you get from standing up for someone when they can't stand up for themselves is a lot better. And finally, from Comrade Malik Washington, you as graduating law students are about to put a lot of theory into practice, but don't be surprised if you feel a disconnect or a cognitive dissonance. Many of you will not work with poor people or prisoners, and not everyone has to. But all the same, be true to yourself. Be true to what you know is right. Those who speak the hard truth often get labeled as criminals, and being a lawyer does not make you immune from labeling. But remember, people have the potential to be more than they are. We all just need a little help. So I'll reflect on those words for a long time. I'll reflect on this experience for a long time. Thank you so much, 2019 class, giving me what you gave me.
Thank you, Richard. Our final student speaker is Emily Madden, who is representing our LLM students. Ms. Madden earned her first law degree from Trinity College, Dublin. A world traveler, she has volunteered with a community center in Athens, Greece, and with an animal welfare organization in Thailand. In the LLM program, she completed a co-op with the Massachusetts Attorney General's office. Please welcome Ms. Madden to the stage.
President-elect Martinez, Provost Bean, Dean Hackney, Director Cassidy, distinguished faculty, administrators, fellow graduates, family, friends, and guests. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate the class of 2019. And to the class of 2019, congratulations. I'm so happy to be standing here today at our graduation. I believe, along with the great philosopher Jiminy Cricket, that the most fantastic, magical things can happen. And it all starts with a wish. Or, here in the US, quite a bit of student loans. And I'll have to admit something right now. There's something I've been worrying about for the last couple days. I've promised so many of my friends and family members that I would get a picture with them, and I'm really worried I'm not going to find everybody after the ceremony. So I hope you will all bear with me for just 1 minute as I make sure I get a picture with all of my friends and family here today. Thank you very much for bearing with me, guys. And now back to our originally scheduled programming. One of my favorite authors, actually, Dr. Seuss, once observed, "You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, and you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go." And decide we did. All of the graduates here today decided to come to Northeastern. When the JDs arrived 3 years ago, they were strangers who bonded over tort law, legal research, and their social justice program. But all of the LLMs here today, we came bonded over a similar experience on day one. And so now I want you all to imagine that you're at an airport and you've packed your entire life into a few suitcases, and you turn around for one last wave to your friends, family, and all the loved ones you have. And you're about to board a plane into a new country that you've never been before. And you're not sure the next time you'll see them. Will you be home for the next holiday? You don't know. Will you be back for your birthday? You're not really sure. And why don't you have the answers to any of these questions? Well, you're not sure what adventures, what friendships, or what opportunities are waiting for you on the other side of that plane ride. It's one of the most thrilling and, quite frankly, scary feelings you can have, but I don't think any of us would give it up for the world. But you might be thinking, what does this girl know about leaving her family behind and moving to a new country? She certainly sounds like an American, and she might even sound like she's from New England. Well, you'd be right. I was born just down the street from here, and I lived most of my life less than an hour's drive from the city. But almost 5 years ago, I turned my life upside down, and I got on that plane, and I left for Ireland. I lived in Dublin for the next 4 years and completed my first law degree at Trinity College. I learned so much during my time at Trinity. I learned about the similarities and differences in law between various common law jurisdictions. I learned how to convert euros to US dollars in my head and vice versa. But most importantly, as a Trinity student, I learned how to get ready for a black tie ball in less than an hour. And I've continued to learn so much at my time at Northeastern. Over the year, we've learned so much from each other, out on co-op, and in our classes. One of the great things about Northeastern is the university really embraces diversity and uniqueness. And as previously mentioned, my LLM class is one of the most unique yet, with people from 17 different countries. And with individuals from all over the world, you learn so much about different cultures. Greek salad, it's not supposed to have lettuce in it. And we even settled the great debate over which is better, Turkish or Greek coffee, and they're actually the same. While I was writing this speech, I was trying to think about what made all of the LLMs the same. We come from such different backgrounds and walks of life. Some of us LLMs had already begun our careers when we started at Northeastern and came to gain a specialization in a niche area of law, while some of us had yet to start our careers and came to Northeastern to participate in the co-op program. And then I realized it was the little everyday things that made us all the same. The appreciation of the spot-on cartoon in a group Facebook conversation, or the collective dread of seeing how expensive next quarter's books would be, or even the thrill of standing here today at our graduation. But our LLM year was so much more than 33 credits and an internship. It was a year where we made lifelong friends from all over the world. It was a year that we laughed together and experienced disappointment together. We fell in love with Boston together. Some of us got engaged, and some of us embraced the title of Crazy Cat Ladies. Soon our merry little troupe will disband. Most of us will go home, but a few will stay here. We'll get jobs or get just one more master's degree. Everyone I met at Northeastern has made such a huge impact on my life, and I can't wait to see the impact they have on the world. While completing our degrees and moving on to the next chapter of our lives seems scary, I have faith that we'll all handle it with grace, and all it takes is faith, trust, and just a little bit of pixie dust. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations.
Thank you, Emily. Our faculty speaker, chosen by the graduating class, is Professor Hemeth Gundavaram. Professor Gundavaram joined our faculty in 2014, and with Professor Rachel Rosenblum, co-founded our Immigrant Justice Clinic. Never has the founding of a clinic come at a more critical time for upholding the rule of law. In just over a year, the clinic has secured a grant of asylum for a woman and her son who feared for their lives in Mexico, secured the release of a client from an immigrant detention center, and published a report documenting the harmful effects of immigration enforcement at Massachusetts courthouses. Please welcome Professor Gundavaram to this podium.
Congratulations, class of 2019. It is quite an honor to be chosen as your faculty speaker. I was informed on the way up here that I've also been entered into the Democratic primary. I first wanted to give a quick shout out, do people still say that? To my parents who couldn't be here today, and my brother and sister-in-law, and my niece and nephew, Grishma and Varun. I am now the coolest uncle this side of Full House. I also wanted to send well wishes to my dear friend, Steve Subrin, and his wife, Joni. Steve was on the faculty here for 45 years and is recovering from an illness and could not be here today. I know, I sound like I'm accepting an Academy Award. Okay. In my teaching career, I've never felt so connected to a graduating class. I did say that last year, but I do mean it. We've worked together on immigration projects in LSSC, LO5, and 3 and 4. We've learned legal writing together. Well, I already knew it, but some of you learned it. Most of you. Administrative law we took together, which was about the size of this graduating class. Independent studies, mentoring, and of course my clinic students who have worked so hard to help immigrants in our community receive asylum and start a new life. You are an amazing group of students. You should be so proud of yourself. I also want to give a round of applause to everybody who's here in your support today, family, friends. I almost said and loved ones as if that's a different group. And let's also give a round of applause to both the faculty and the staff who I'm here representing today. A few months ago, I was asked to give this speech, and I approached the writing and giving of this speech the way that many of you approach a quarter at Northeastern. Why are you laughing already? I made a detailed plan and timeline and schedule, and last night I started writing, and I'm still not finished. So if this speech doesn't go well, please feel free to write whatever you want on my page 2. Apparently nobody reads those. The rest of the faculty does not know that. Now, the first thing I said when I was invited to give this speech was, I'm too young to give a faculty speech. And a few of you very helpfully told me that was not the case. Now, 15 years ago, when I was graduating law school, there was only one job I really wanted. I really mean this. I wanted to be a law professor. Now, I doubt many of you want to be a law professor. I once asked a student, do you want to get into academia? She said no. I thought that was the end of the conversation. She said, it's like 3 years of law school, but forever. I thought that was the end of the conversation, and she said, it's literally my worst nightmare. But there is some job out there that you will love and that you will want. Now, this is a little dated, but there's a meme that says, find yourself a partner that looks at you the way that Joe Biden looks at Barack Obama. Well, what I want for you is to find a job the way that I look at my job. And here are a few lessons that I learned along the way to get from where you are to where I am. Okay. This is the middle of the speech now. You know I'm big on road mapping. Okay. The first thing to finding a job you love is to realize the moment when you're doing something you love. Now, when I say this, I mean something legal related. Drinking at Punter's Pub does not count. You might love it. Well, now we can't go there. But for me, I didn't particularly like law school. But there are two things in law school I really loved, which were being a teaching assistant and participating in a clinic. You can imagine now that I'm running a clinic and teaching, that worked out okay. And if you haven't found what it is you love yet, you will. But when you do, you have to pay attention to it. If you want your dream job, you have to know what you love doing. When I first expressed to people that I wanted to be a law professor, a lot of them told me that it was unlikely. The rest told me that it was impossible. I obviously stopped talking to those people. But if you want your dream job, you have to ignore the critics. And the critic you have to ignore the most is your own self. We all have self-doubts, and they can get in the way of getting to the accomplishments that we deserve. So I made a plan. I started as an adjunct instructor, teaching legal writing at night. It paid terribly, it was a ton of work, and I had to balance it with my full-time job at a law firm. But I kept it up year after year. If you want your dream job, you have to put in the extra effort. So I was an adjunct for 7 years. That was 14 straight semesters of traveling. Well, I can't say the name of the school. Daniel Medwed does not let me say that school out loud. My plan was to build a better resume and then eventually apply to a full-time teaching job. But eventually can be the death of your dreams. If you want your dream job, you have to reach for it sometimes before you think you're ready. So finally, after 7 years, I applied and I received some offers. I left a cushy job at the First Circuit and accepted a teaching fellowship. It was for 1 year, and then I'd be left with no job after that. If you want your dream job, sometimes you have to take some risks. So my fellowship was ending, and I didn't have a job lined up. In early January, during a blizzard, there was an annual law professor conference in New York. In case you're wondering, a law professor conference during a blizzard is as exciting as it sounds. But I went. If you want your dream job, sometimes you have to show up to things you don't want to go to. So 3 days of the conference pass, nothing works out for me. And one day, or the last day, I am at the Starbucks in the hotel, and I see Professor Wendy Parmet of Northeastern Law School having coffee alone. I had met her once before, so I had an internal debate. Do I talk to her? Is this going to be awkward? What would I even say? I know, I'm making this sound like a romantic comedy. But I approached her, and she remembered me. And the way Wendy gets right down to business, she said, there's a job in our LSSC program that you should apply for. If you want your dream job, sometimes you have to network. So I got the job, and here I was at Northeastern finally, a full-time professor. I had worked hard, ignored doubts, took risks, showed up, networked. That should have been it, but I wanted something more. I wanted to run an immigration clinic. So for years, every chance I got, I mentioned to whoever would listen, and often to those who wouldn't, that our school needed an immigration clinic. Then after the Muslim ban 2 years ago, Northeastern rose to the challenge, and thanks to many people, including President Aoun, Provost Bean, Jeremy Paul, Dick Daynard, and of course Rachel Rosenblum. I can't believe I messed up her name. It's like my best friend. And you, the students who rallied for it and embraced it, we started the immigration clinic 2 years ago. If you want your dream job, you have to be persistent. Now, I know Dean Hackney and everybody who's here with you, your family and friends in the audience, are thinking, I really don't think he needs to tell a Northeastern law student that they need to be more persistent. So that's how I got from here to there. And to this day, other than when I'm at a faculty meeting, my job does not feel like work. Sorry. What's their reaction? Tell me. Okay, I'm getting to the end. Now this is a third part. I can feel Dean Harper saying, wrap it up, Gundavaram. I want to end quickly by talking about the degree you're about to receive. Growing up in an Indian family, there's being a doctor, and then there's everything else. A lot of it, beyond the prestige, comes from the fact that medicine is a profession of life and death. Now, recently, my father was ill and in the hospital. He's still there now. He's doing better, but at the time, he was getting worse, and nobody really knew why. I felt very desperate and confused. Every time a doctor came to his room, we were hoping for answers, and everything they said, everything they did, it mattered to us. We could tell which doctors cared and which didn't. A comforting glance, a hand on a shoulder. We could tell who was thinking about his case throughout the day. At lunch, once they left work, and who wasn't. We could tell who had prepared and walked in knowing his whole medical history and who hadn't. And to us, all of it mattered. Now, around that time at the immigration clinic, 3 of you students who are graduating were working on 3 cases. A tough as nails political activist, an incredibly kind man persecuted because of his sexual orientation. He was granted asylum recently. And the third, a brave domestic violence survivor. And after all these years, shuttling back and forth between the hospital and the clinic, it truly occurred to me that our work as lawyers can be about life and death as much as any doctor. Immigration, housing, employment, benefits, domestic violence, criminal justice, prisoners' rights, workers' rights, healthcare. For your clients, it is life and death. Every minute you're working on their case and every interaction that you have with them, it all matters. And they'll know, too, who is prepared and who isn't, who cares and who doesn't, and they'll hang on every word you say for help, for hope, for answers. So don't take what's happening today lightly. When you get on the stage, 2 things will happen. A hood will be draped over your shoulders, and a rolled-up diploma will be handed to you. Don't let that moment pass without reflection. What will be draped over your shoulders is responsibility, and what will be handed to you is power. But we know in this world and others that the thing about responsibility is that it can be ignored and power can be misused. I know you all know this because you watch Game of Thrones. But I'm not worried. After teaching you for 3 years, I know you will take that responsibility with seriousness and purpose, and you will use that power to help and empower others. I know you will be Starks and not Lannisters. Watch the show if you haven't. What are you waiting for? I speak for everyone on this stage when I tell you, while we say goodbye to you with sadness, we do so also with excitement. Excitement to unleash you upon the world. It needs you more than ever. It has been my honor to teach you. You have a friend and a mentor for life. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor Gundavaram. It is my pleasure to call upon Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, Catherine S. McHugh, to escort Judy Perry Martinez to the podium.
Provost Bean, I have the honor of presenting Judy Perry Martinez for a special recognition. vigorous advocate for equal justice, champion for access to legal services, standard bearer for the rule of law. Early in your career, you advanced the cause of justice in Louisiana through your focus on issues such as access to pro bono legal services and the need for greater diversity in the legal profession. As you rose in professional stature, first as a partner with Simon, Perigine, Smith, and Redfern, and then as Chief Compliance Officer at Northrop Grumman, you were named to lead or serve on American Bar Association bodies focused on examining critical issues of law and society: domestic violence, women in the profession, and public trust in the justice system. In recognition of your insight, integrity, and energy, you were appointed to the Executive Committee of the ABA Board of Governors, led the ABA's delegation to the United Nations, and chaired the standing committee that evaluates all prospective nominees to the federal bench. Today, the American legal profession's supreme trust in your leadership, on behalf of the central role the law holds in a free society, has elevated you to President-elect of the American Bar Association. Therefore, on the occasion of your address to the Northeastern University School of Law, class of 2019, we express our admiration for your tireless commitment to making equal justice under the law a living reality for people everywhere.
Judy Perry Martinez, Northeastern University, is pleased to bestow upon you this special citation. Find the top.
I am honored to introduce Judy Perry Martinez as this year's commencement speaker. As you have read in our program today, Ms. Martinez's career has been impressive, both in terms of her accomplishments as a practicing lawyer and in her more than 3 decades of volunteer work and service to our profession and her community. As the incoming president of the American Bar Association, Ms. Martinez will lead the legal profession. In the coming year, we will look to Ms. Martinez for guidance on many fronts. As the top advocate for our profession, as a leader in ensuring a public understanding and appreciation for the rule of law, and as a pace setter in continuing the critical mission to eliminate bias in the legal profession and to increase diversity. To accomplish all of these goals, we could have no better leader than Ms. Martinez. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the incoming president of the American Bar Association, Judy Perry Martinez.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for all those kind words and generous words, and thank you for the extraordinary citation. I'll cherish it for many, many years to come. Provost Bean, Dean Hackney, distinguished guests, faculty, parents, family, and most importantly, the members of the class of 2019. I'm honored to be with all of you here today. What a sea of beautiful smiles and happy faces. The graduates may not likely be able to see them across the rows in the room, but they are just brilliant smiles of happiness and pride. And this is a moment to reflect and to pause and to think about all the hard work that each and every one of you have endured and the sacrifices that you have made, as well as the love and support that you have been given so that you could be here today. A sense of accomplishment and pride fills the air in this room, and it is truly palpable. Today, you've taken a major step toward becoming a member of a profession to which less than 1.3 million people, in a nation of approximately 327 million, less than 0.04% can claim to be a part. Think about that. You are a member and about to become a member of the legal profession, a most noble profession, and one that for centuries has been looked to for leadership, wise counsel, and grit to do what's right, not only in times of turmoil and in tragedy, but also in times of renewal and opportunity. Some of you have stepped up your game by seeking and now obtaining an LLM or a master's in legal studies. You are entering the legal sector in a defining moment, not only as we stand up for the rule of law, a free press, and an independent judiciary, not only as we shore up the integrity of our democratic institutions, including those that depend on due process and equality, civility, respect, and fairness, but also as we each as individuals fulfill our professional responsibilities and duties owed to the public. We must work to ensure the public's trust and confidence in our judicial system. And importantly, we must ensure access to justice, not just for some, but for all. We have a role and an obligation as lawyers, and each of you as leaders, and you are already showing your skills of leadership in your communities, to step up, to speak up, and to be heard. Much of the public is unaware of what our Constitution holds and the rights and responsibilities it sets forth, and we must seek opportunities to educate them about the role that they each play in strengthening our nation. As Justice Sandra Day O'Connor said, the practice of democracy is not passed down through the gene pool. It must be taught and learned anew by each generation of citizens. We must protect the rule of law. We must promote the rule of law, and we must ensure that it's not politicized by those within and outside the legal profession. No matter a lawyer's party, politics, or beliefs, we are all committed to justice, due process, our constitutional values, and the rule of law. And part of that commitment is doing what we can, taking concrete steps to ensure that members of the public in our towns and our communities understand the meaning of principles like establishing justice, due process, the rule of law, and equality. It starts at our dinner tables and in coffee shops, at high schools and in chat rooms. Lawyers, particularly young lawyers, have a voice that must be heard, educating the public so that they know that voting counts, that respect matters, that lifting up the disadvantaged lifts us all, and that welcoming others fleeing violence and seeking a better life makes ours a stronger country, and yes, gives us greater confidence in our democracy. Collectively and individually, the greatest contribution that lawyers can bring to a challenge or a problem, whether faced by a client or a profession or our nation, is the ability to bring people of disparate perspectives together, to discuss issues civilly, to analyze them thoroughly, and to arrive at solutions ethically and fairly. Our colleagues and our country, and indeed the world, continue to look at the legal profession to speak on issues critical to the justice system and our democratic values, and to lead with knowledge of the law and respect for the principles on which our nation was founded. Our finest moments, the most enduring contributions the legal profession has ever made to society, have been when our profession has used its voice and its resources for causes about which we can speak with authority and which we can impactfully influence. It is our most critical imperative that we as lawyers never lower our voices when we witness affronts to the independence of the judiciary or the profession, or denigration of the free press, nor when we see injustice done to those in need, no matter how isolated the target or how popular at the moment the deed. When I look back When I look back on my 9 years representing a gentleman on death row, which ultimately and heartbreakingly ended in his execution, or more recently, my time spent at the border in Texas doing pro bono asylum interviews, where a gentleman was released, what I always keep in mind is what my death row client, John Ashley Brown Jr., told me as I met with him long ago on the last night of his life. John said, "Thank you, as I know you all did your best." This is the job of a lawyer, to do our best. Lawyers' advocacy for the unrepresented and the voiceless cannot wax and wane. Our protest of the unconscionable, particularly attacks on our democratic values, as enshrined in our Constitution, cannot surge and then lie fallow. We must give our best to those whom we, the lawyers, have taken an oath to serve and protect. As the voice of American lawyers, the ABA examines and, where appropriate, speaks on these and other pressing challenges, and we will continue to do so. You will hear us, and we hope you will continue in our ranks and participate in our work. You can choose to jump into bar work at the local, state, and national level with both feet at the very start of your career, as I did 35 years ago, or you can become engaged over time or, frankly, any time. 3 decades ago, I certainly did not envision that 8 years into my practice I would chair the ABA Young Lawyers Division for the country, nor that I would envision that I would be starting my year as president of the ABA coming this August. Nor did my law school friends, 2 of whom with whom I studied for the bar in 1982, think that one of us, among us, would be president of the state bar this year and another a general counsel of an independent oil and gas company. But we threw ourselves into our work, knowing that it was through engagement and contribution that we would find fulfillment. And right before you on the dais are numerous prime examples of lawyer servants, members of your faculty who have devoted much of their careers to fighting for justice, pursuing liberty, working for the organized bar, and making sure that they are doing their best. Follow their lead. As you begin this journey, as you travel the road throughout your career, the organized bar, the ABA, will always be here for you, a constant presence as you navigate what lies ahead. Many of you will start your own practices and help everyday people who need your guidance and legal assistance. There is no more important role than a lawyer who can use his or her skills to help children stay together with their loving parents, right wrongs on the job or on the street, or shepherd a family through the loss of a loved one. Others among you will ascend to the bench, government service, or sign up for careers in legal aid, dedicating your lives to the law in a most public and selfless way. Whatever your path, I urge you to think deeply, and deeply now, about how you will define success for yourself. Many of you will go on to make a lucrative living, and it is admirable to be recognized with big fees because you are the best in your specialty, to stand proudly when a jury comes back with a defense verdict or an equally impressive monetary award in favor of your paying client. It does mean you've made it when your merger goes through or an administrative hearing results in a decision that makes new law. But is it all about the money, the verdicts, and the deals? Should success only be measured about the cases won or the sanctions that stick against your opponent? Will you consider yourself to have made it when you finally get that corner office, or your name is one of 2 by which your firm is known? Of course, it's easier for a lawyer who has had the benefit of a steady paycheck and has been able to make a good living that allowed him or her to pay off student debt, buy a house, drive a nice car, send kids to college, and take vacations, to think about that question. But how will you define success? Will you let others define it for you? I recommend that you ask yourself how you will define success now, before you start your journey. And I hope you will ask that question of yourself again and again in the months and in the years to come. Don't fail to ask yourself and then one day wake up having practiced for decades, not having thought about what you want to accomplish. Take the time to have an honest conversation with yourself about what will make you happy. Try to identify what will give your life as a lawyer meaning and purpose. While you certainly will find meaning and purpose through your relationships with family and friends, through faith and lifelong learning, take the time to figure out how you want to be remembered as a lawyer. When people in your hometown say your name, will they recall that you were the lawyer who stood with those who had nowhere else to turn? Will the words ethics and professionalism immediately come to mind when a judge hears your name? Will your bar colleagues always know that your word is your bond? I suggest that you always ask yourself if there is a way that through helping others you can gain the greatest gift that the legal profession has to offer, a sense of fulfillment in knowing that you did your small part in trying to make this a better world for those less fortunate than you. No one is likely to tell you that you have to represent the poor or the near poor. No one is likely to urge you to stay the course with a pro bono client because he or she has nowhere else to turn. No one is likely to criticize you if you don't speak up for diversity and inclusion or you fail to speak truth to power. No one will remember that you did nothing to counter attacks on judicial independence, or that you told able people ways to get out of jury duty, or never encouraged people to vote each time they have an opportunity to be a part of our democracy. But you will remember, you will know, because you understand that being a lawyer is a privilege, and one should never waste a privilege. Do your best each and every day, as it will carry you through even your greatest challenges and your darkest hours. Define success not only by how much you get, by how much you give. And if you do, I assure you that there will never be a day that you will not be proud to say, I am a lawyer. Graduates, my warmest and heartiest congratulations to each and every one of you, and to your wonderful family and friends as you begin this extraordinary lifetime journey of service through which I am sure you will find great fulfillment. And always know that the American Bar Association and the colleagues of your profession will be there with you always if you're ever in need. Thank you very much for allowing me to be with all of you today.
Thank you, Judy. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The degrees will now be conferred. Provost Bean, it is my privilege to report to you that the candidates here assembled and others have qualified in all respects for the degree of Juris Doctor, Master of Laws, or Master of Legal Studies. They have successfully completed curricula offered by the School of Law and have been recommended by the faculty and the Council of Deans to be awarded degrees in recognition of their academic accomplishments. Will the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor please rise and remain standing until your degree has been conferred? Provost Bean, I am honored to present the candidates who have qualified in all respects for the degree of Juris Doctor.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University, I do hereby confer on you and all those who have properly qualified the degree of Juris Doctor with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will the graduates please be seated? Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws or Master of Legal Studies please rise and remain standing until your degree has been conferred? Provost Bean, I am honored to present the candidates who have qualified in all respects for the degree of Master of Laws or Master of Legal Studies.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of this university, I do hereby confer on you and all those who have properly qualified the degree of Master of Laws or Master of Legal Studies with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will the graduates please be seated? The marshals will now present the graduates to the platform. Valerie Timms and Bruce Dugan will announce the name of each Juris Doctor graduate as they are presented to receive their diplomas. The Juris Doctor graduates will be hooded by Associate Deans Kristen Madison and Martha Davis. The Master of Laws graduates will be announced by Bernard Naglalum and will be hooded by Director Patrick Cassidy. The Master of Legal Studies graduates will be announced by Wasim Abe Durabo and hooded by Director Dan Ehrman and Associate Dean Kristen Madison.
Carissa Aranda. Oh. Azine Adibe. Norijen Aguaviva. Christopher J. Anderson. Anna Maria Anino. Megan Elizabeth Anna Natellis. Florence Anzina Maca Arriba Ana. Queen Arsem O'Malley. Thomas Carl Ayers. Nicholas S. Brulatis. Matthew W. Barg. Maura Barry. Nicole M. Bazzani. Adam Maurice Bentley. Stephanie Helen Berland. Amanda Marie Bishop. Julia Blackburn Otero. Samantha Lauren Bloom. Amanda Joy Borsnam. Kristen Borzale. Samantha Ellen Bressler. Jason Libero Del Rosa Rio. Some of them are a little tricky. Yes. Allison Higgins Bushy. Tanisha J. Canty. Jonathan T. Card. Safira Anuka Castro. Ariel Chang. Mallory Sue Charbonneau. Lacey R. Chabris. Keely Cieslik. Kyrie Deshawn Caldwell. Erin Elizabeth Conroy. Kelly Elizabeth Cook. Island and Sembra Charapchalu. Jennifer Riley Coulinet. Isabel Rose Cunningham. Carolyn Ann DeCunha. Spencer Vukwandang. Eric Mays Elliott. Caroline Sorana Daniels. Also awarded the degree of Master of Environmental Law and Policy from Vermont Law School. Richard Edley Durst, hooded by his mother, Nancy Lee Durst, class of '91. Maria Johanna de la Motte. Christina Daly. Julian Del Prado. Aina Fernandez de la Torre. Elena Joan Despotopoulos. Eve Madeline DeVoe. Maxwell S. Dismukes. Daniel DeLugoff. Anastasia Catherine O'Connor Doherty. Ariana M. Dolphin. Sean Stephen Doucette. Ethan John Dowling. Victoria Jean Downey. Dale Ann Duran. Angelica Luz Duran. Elizabeth Creedon Egan. Sarah Ashley Escrias. Daniel T. Espinosa. Beverly Marie Falco. Elizabeth Rita Fahrenkamp. Hallie C. Fisher. Yatzel Iliana Veit Sabat. Bethany L. Fitzgerald. Regina Ann Fountain. Deandra Yvonne Franks. Tyler P. Freeman. Lara Elizabeth Bailey Fry. Susmita A. Gadre. Elizabeth L. Gardon. Zachary James Gavin. Alexandra Gennaro. Anne Mirka George. Parisa Gomi. Lillian Alexandra Giacomo. Stephanie Giano. Cassandra Ann Gomez. Stephanie L. Gonzalez. Jillian Elise Suzanne Gonzalez. Monroe Yates Graham. Jeffrey Robert Gerbowski. Janae Marie Hakula Choquette. Julius Augustus Halstead. Helen Christine Hamandi. Shelby Megan Hecht. Michelle Heap. Sarah Jane Higgins. Benjamin J. Hinks. Megan M. Herstrott. Victoria Marie Hahn. Gary Barrington St. George Howell Walton. Monet Crystal Jackson. Miranda Ray Jang. Jacob R. Jared. Jessica Paige Johnson. Micah Quinny Jones. Haja Asata Rabia Boykumara. Martine Kaplan. Seth Katzman.
I'll jump in there.
Sorry.
Jeffrey W. Kennedy.
I'll hand it to you when it's time to read it. But I live in here so you can read ahead of.
Kariri Kiambuthi. Eugene Love Kim. Ji-yoon Kim. Andrew Lawrence Kindy. Lauren Kopik. Mitchell David Kosht. Lauren M. Kozlowski. Reed Frost Kurtz, also awarded the degree of Master of Arts in Sustainable International Development from Brandeis University. Sophia Louise LaCortiglia, also awarded the degree of Master of Science from Northeastern University. Madison Lee Tremble Lang. Shannon Nicole Lee. Ashley A. Latoile. Amanda F. Lima Pacheco. Taylor Patrick Lovejoy. Caitlin Mary McLeod. Alexandra Gabriel Martinez O'Reilly. Alicia Maziars. Kelly Ann McKinty. Mary Saba Maselli. Rachel L. Mills. Nazreen Zuhan Mohammed. Marcela Alvarez Morgan. Caroline Cynthia Moy. Michael C. Murphy. Nikolai V. Nakov. Siri Edna Nelson. Katar Sharice Nene. I guess it is what it's on, huh? Lexi D. Nesmith. Amanda Elizabeth Nyman. Fabiola Olvera Benitez. Molly Elizabeth O'Malley. Shanam Usman. Connor O'Sullivan Pierce. Mark Overton. Justin S. Park. Okendo. Kathleen Parker. Tisaru Pereira. Elinette Okendo Perez. Patricia Alexandra Perez Elias. Selena Ruby Posnack. Michael Mackin Preble. Samantha Rachel Puckett. Ryan McGovern Quinn. Alexandra Beth Rabasco. Kyle Patrick Rainey. Erica Ann Raskina. Richard Santos Raya. Audrey Ricks. Lily Ann Ritter. Timothy A. Roberts. Danae Lynn Rabinet. Michael A. Roderick. Anna Shade Rodriguez. Fernando Rodriguez Diaz. Yashkeen Rodriguez Thayer. Angelica Arguello Romero. Sarah Christine Ropiak. Dexter Khalid Rowell. Christine M. Salazar, also awarded the degree of Master of Science in Law and Public Policy from Northeastern University. Kiran Salim. Emily Nicole Sardinas. Nina Marie Schwartzman. Monica Shaw. Timothy G. Shebley Hall. Rieko Holland Shepard. Megan J. Sheridan. Krista Lynn Sherman. Jeffrey Robert Smith. Your middle name? Chetra. Chetra. Okay. Raven Anastasia Smith. Autumn Susi. Frida Rose Shandell Spencer. Tarika Chetra Sridhar. Katerina Renata Stavronidis. Alexander M. Stein. Noor Suleiman. Kathleen Elizabeth Tate. Sean C. Tekeparayil. Hannah Colleen Theophil. Megan T. Thomas. Devin James Thompson. Kevin A. Toussaint. Jessica Lauren Trevino. Caitlin Marie Tucker. Amani Sumir Tufaha. Amanda L. Varacchioni. Alyssa D. Vetrano. Jocelyn Volk. Annie Vozar. Samantha Joan Westbrook. Emily Nicole Whalen. Jordan Lindsay Williamson Rodine. Emma Valentine Wankler. Alexander Wisniewski. Anthony J. Witkowski. Sherelle Wu. Ji Xiang.
I read her name and he reads mine.
So you need to jump.
Yeah, and then I'll jump in behind her.
Nope, one more.
Hanbo Yu. Ilhan Ismail Zebakolu.
And then I go out there and take a picture too, right? Yeah.
Hannah Rose Zukov.
When you read the...
Okay. That's mine. That'll be the first one. Yeah.
There we go.
I gave him mine.
Yeah. That's that.
Perfect.
There you go.
Valerie Grace Timms.
He's got to take a picture. This is yours. Nope, nope,
No,
nope.
no.
Yes. Gotta go. Okay, go ahead and read his name.
Betty Bruce Christopher Dugan Jr. Betty Ako.
All right, everybody. I'll hand them to you when it's time to read.
Okay.
Now that we're on point.
All right.
Okay.
Susan Asamoah. Gayatri Bihanuto Boyna. Dai Chen. Mascaram Fanta Demose. Lito Fotaki Muhaira. Farman Guliyov. Marish Hagudea Baskun. Luciano Francisco Hansa Anton. Opuva Joshi. Joseph Amondon Fino Noke Roman. Cecile Lescarre. Marianne Tokarski. Emily Ann. Alisa Jean McCarthy. Oganakawe Odima. Carla Ortiz.
So as soon as you read this, go take a picture.
Hoi Min Xiao.
Then go ahead.
Bernard Yangabe Ngalim.
And I'll hand it to you when it's time to read.
It's time.
Yeah.
Richie Marindin Yassini. Shalonda Lene Austin. Rebecca Lee Bohannon. Joseph D. Brass. Jack Allman Donaldson. Michael John First. Patricia N. Jackson. Jill A. McNeil. Caroline Unyeruka. Jamila Diamond Ortiz Williams. Cassia Laurelyn Palace Allen. Vinell Ramsdell. Eric Quinn Shipley. Tammy Lynn Stanley. Scott Randall Thompson.
So as soon as you read this, go take a picture, and he'll read your name.
Sounds good. Who has one too?
Deborah S. Wilson.
Signal.
Wasim Kanan Abedrabo.
Let's give one more big congratulations to the class of 2019. I am all that's between you and the party. You chose to come to Northeastern University for a reason, a commitment to social justice and diversity, to excellence, to a committed faculty, and to practical training. And the addition for this fall of Patricia Williams to our faculty is indicative of the national recognition of the place that we hold in these areas. Even if you're specializing in our new foci of technology, privacy, intellectual property, or health law, you do so with an ethos of social justice because it is what makes this law school great. In the current world, we need more lawyers and clerks like you. The judicial system has never been more important than it is today, this week, and is in good hands with leaders who have the sensibilities of Northeastern law grads. Stay true to the values that brought you to Northeastern. They may at times seem out of place in the world that you inherit, but you are right. Persist. During your time here, the bar passage rates at Northeastern have gone up, the employment rates have gone up, the rankings of the school have gone up. That might be due to Dean Hackney and the faculty, it might be due to you, probably a lot of both. And so I want to thank you for the contributions you've made to a real resurgence of this law school. While you graduate today, you will be members of the Northeastern family forever. Advancement will see to that. We really do want you to stay in touch. We want to hear of your great successes, and we want to hear your reflections on the strengths and challenges that you face and what it means for how we can continue to improve the education here at Northeastern. So stay in touch. We look forward to working with you for a lifetime. And again, congratulations. I now turn the process over to the Chief Marshal.
I ask that the audience remain in their seats until the stage party and the graduates have recessed. The graduates will follow the marshals to the rear of the arena for their class photograph. Family and guests are cordially invited to attend a reception immediately following today's ceremony. The reception will be held in the Curry Student Center. Signs and university hosts outside the arena will direct you. Once the graduates have completed their class photo, they will be led to the Curry Student Center to join their guests.